Hello guys, so today I was supposed to do some reaction videos, but this is heavy on my heart and I don't think I can. I will do them Sunday and we will call it a day. I have to talk about what's been going on in America because I can't. Like, within 72 hours we have had 2 black people killed and 2 accused for shit they never did. Why is my question. Why? What is wrong with the color of my skin that makes you so scared? Yet police officers, they have guns and I'm the one who's scared, but they're scared for their life when I have nothing on me. Why? I'm gonna put a list of names at the very top of the screen, and it's gonna have everyone's name. Read it. In my description box, I will have a link to all the links for you to sign, for other petitions you need to sign. I'm gonna get as many as I can, and I will be linking them down as many as I can, because there's a word count as well. But why? Like, George did absolutely nothing. And this all happened. The racist clerk who thought his check was gonna bounce. And if you thought it was gonna bounce, why didn't you ask him? Does he have any money? Does he have a card? And then it didn't bounce either. The check was perfectly fine. But you called police out there. And it's not any old police. It's an actual police officer. Derek M. Chauvin, I believe that's how you say his last name. This is not the first time he has actually shot a black person and has actually killed a black person. So we're going to go down the line. And recently, we know Minneapolis police officer who murdered George Floyd on May 25th, 2020. The restraint technique used by Chauvin to murder Floyd was not part of the department's training. Being represented by Tom Kelly, the same attorney who got Officer Geronimo Yanez, who murdered Castile. I can't say this name, but I will have a picture at the top. I'll have a picture right there, so y'all can see this as well. Derek Chauvin was put on leave in 2011 for inappropriate police shooting of Alaskan Native American Leroy Martinez. Chauvin shot Ira Latrell Tolles, an unarmed black 21-year-old man, in 2008. Chauvin was one of the officers who murdered Wayne Reyes, a Latino man with 16 bullets forced into him. A total of 42 rounds were shot off. Chauvin and another officer were chasing a car in 2005, causing the death of 3 people, according to Communities United Against Police Brutality. There are 12 police brutality complaints against Chauvin in the Minneapolis Office of Police Conduct complaint database. They are all listed as closed, non-public, and no discipline. Yet this man he was still on the job before this happened. He clearly heard, "I can't breathe." And then that dumbass mayor was like, if you can say I can't breathe, you can breathe. If he could breathe, he would still be here. Also, F you to the Asian cop as well, because you just stood there and let it happen. You could have prevented all of this. Both of them need to be arrested for murder. Because Derek murdered him, and then the Asian, I can't even think of his name right now, but I actually have it somewhere in this phone. I believe I do. I don't right now, but I'll put a picture of him up when I find it. He also needs to be in jail for an acquaintance of murder. You just stood there and let it happen. You also got a badge. You could have told him, get off of him. You could have pushed him off of him. He's so scared for his life that he has to choke a man out until he says, I can't breathe, and then continues to verbally choke him out. Why? What is so bad about black people? Why do I need to be scared to go out every day? That I could be the next victim, or a family member, a close friend. Like, since Trump has been in office, America's literally gone back 50 years. And talking about bringing up Trump, what he tweeted last night was, and there's actually a comparison of what he has said. What he said about black people protesting police brutality. These thugs, aren't you the president of America and you're saying the word thugs? Are dishonoring the memory of George Floyd, and I won't let it happen. Just spoke to Governor Tim Walz and told him that the military is with him all the way. Any difficulty and we will assume control, but when the looting starts, the shooting starts. Thank you. But for white people, he had to say this: the governor of Michigan should give a little and put out the fire. These are very good people, yet they are standing there pushing police officers, with guns in their hands. But they're not scared. Black people, we have nothing on us. We are just screaming. We are trying to get y'all to hear us, but of course, y'all won't hear us. So we had to take something into our own hands. And if it means tearing up Minneapolis, it is what it is. Because I stand right behind them. And then I also want to thank Twitter for taking down that tweet. Because Twitter could have left it up. And then the National Guard gets put in. They have more than 500 soldiers to St. Paul, Minneapolis, and surrounding communities. Our mission is to protect life, kill race, kill black people, preserve property, stop all these white companies from getting knocked down and burned, and the right to peacefully demonstrate. Tear gas, which is also illegal since World War I ended. A key objective is to ensure fire departments are all able to respond to calls. They don't want to respond to those calls. Oh, and then I just found out this morning, a CNN reporter, Omar Jimenez, was arrested during a live shot at the scene of protests in Minneapolis. He was a CNN reporter. They let him go. But it's like, why? He wasn't doing anything wrong. Not a damn thing. Something that warmed up my heart a lot, though, I'm going to put the picture right at the top. Whites forming a barrier between black protesters and police. Like, those who are standing there, thank you. I'm not going to give you a clap because you're just doing what's right. It's one of those, there's called being a human. There's called being a human with a good mind who was raised right. You can also be raised in a racist home, a homophobic home, and you can still not be racist and homophobic. People use that as an excuse so they can continue to be racist. It's called Google. It is free for a reason. Now use it. And then I'm going to put a video right here. It's pretty much, if you don't get this and you don't see how much privilege you have, please continue and watch this video.
Shoulder to shoulder, take off your backpacks. Basketball, line up, we're about to race. Hey, we are racing for a $100 bill. The winner of this race will take this, a $100 bill. Before I say go, I'm going to make a couple statements. If those statements apply to you, I want you to take 2 steps forward. If those statements don't apply to you, I want you to stay right where you're at. Take 2 steps forward if both of your parents are still married. Take 2 steps forward if you grew up with a father figure in the home. Take 2 steps forward if you had access to a private education. Take 2 steps forward if you had access to a free tutor growing up. Take 2 steps forward if you've never had to worry about your cell phone being shut off. Take 2 steps forward if you've never had to help mom or dad with the bills. Take 2 steps forward if it wasn't because of your athletic ability, you don't have to pay for college. Take 2 steps forward if you never wondered where your next meal was going to come from. I want you guys up here in the front just to turn around and look. Every statement I've made has nothing to do with anything any of you have done. Has nothing to do with decisions you've made. Everything I have said has nothing to do with what you've done. We all know these people up here have a better opportunity to win this $100. Does that mean these people back here can't race? No. We would be foolish to not realize we've been given more opportunity. We don't want to recognize that we've been given a head start. But the reality is we have. Now, there's no excuse. They still got to run their race. You still got to run your race. But whoever wins this $100, I think it'd be extremely foolish of you not to utilize that and learn more about somebody else's story. Because the reality is, if this was a fair race and everybody was back on that line, I guarantee you some of these black dudes would smoke all of you. And it's only because you have this big of a head start that you're possibly going to win this race called life. That is a picture of life, ladies and gentlemen. Nothing you've done has put you in the lead that you're in right now. When I say go, on your mark, get set, go! If you didn't learn anything from this activity, you're a fool.
Something else I found too. Okay, this is going to compare 2 officers. Mohammed Noor fired 1 shot and accidentally killed a white woman. He was sentenced to 12.5 years. Because she's white. We know why. And I'm going to say it. Same city and police force in Minneapolis. Derek, I don't even want to say this man's name. Left his knee on the neck of a black man who had stopped resisting arrest. Never even resisted it. Until the man died. Think he'll get the similar time? No. Well, he's not even arrested. He has fled off to Florida. This man has fled off to Florida. And the fact that they actually have undercover cops doing most of this crap out there. They're the ones setting fires. They're trying to make it look like all these black people are doing all this stuff. No, we're just trying to get our word out that we are tired. The fact that 2 things of history have repeated themselves in the same time. We have a pandemic and we also have a riot going down in Minneapolis. But this time, it's needed. That's the sad part about it. It is needed. I'm from Black Lives Matter. Black trans lives matter. Black children matter. Black love matters. Black mental health matters. Black art matters. Black dreams matter. Black futures matter. Then there was an innocent child who got shot too. A beautiful little girl was shot in the back of the head by police as she was carrying groceries in Brazil. The beautiful girl was named Agatha Felix and was only 8 when she was shot. Please say her name. And then 2 weeks ago, the Brazilian police shot a young black boy in his own house. took him without contentment of his family, and gave them no information about where he was for a whole day. His body was found at the forensic medicine facility. No one was held accountable. Also, let me find her name because it's right here. Regis. I can't say the rest of his name. I don't know how to say it, and I don't want to say it wrong, but I'm going to have it up there so y'all can know exactly what I'm talking about. In Toronto, Canada, was pushed off of her balcony by police officers, but they want to claim it was suicide. They want to claim it was a suicide, but people saw her be pushed off. They never caught. Her cousin and her mom had to stay in there and look at her body for hours because no one wants to come. Because it's a suicide. No, it's not a suicide. Not all lives matter until Black Lives Matter. I also want to talk about the whole all lives matter. All lives do matter. But right now, they don't matter until Black Lives Matter. And you know when that's going to happen? When y'all can actually see us as people and people who don't do anything wrong. We don't do anything but mind our own business. But yet we get shot at because you're scared of us. I got some headphones on. You're scared of us. If you're that scared when you have all of that can protect you, you're racist. It's not because you're scared. It's because you're trying to get rid of black people. If anything, it feels more like back then when we were counted as half of a human. Now they won't even consider us humans. They treat us like we are animals. It's so sad that this is where it is at. Let's see, let me find. So they have all these. Okay, I actually have a picture. White guys, white men that murdered 12, 17, 9, and 23 are just in jail. A kid had a toy gun, broken tailgate, traffic stop, riding BART train, dead. And they are all dead. They are all dead. Someone who I want to remember forever is Sarah Bland. And I just found this out. She was already dead when her mugshot was taken back in 2015. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to read this and I'm going to post this up there as well. For people who are unaware of why the riots in Minneapolis started happening, here's the facts. It wasn't George Floyd's protesters who started reacting violently. It was cops. The protest was peaceful until the cops showed up in riot gear and started using water cannons, followed by tear gas and rubber bullets. I got videos from friends who were there of people screaming and running away from the cops, shooting the water cannons, rubber bullets, and throwing tear gas at them. They were even shooting at the protesters, dragging people away to get medical attention. Oh my. Speaking of medical attention, dispatch refused to provide any medical attention to the protesters. People literally had to drive their bleeding friends to the hospital because they refused to send ambulances. Cops are using non-lethal weapons in a lethal way. They shot rubber bullets into people's heads and injured them. There's dozens of photos of protesters with bleeding head wounds from the rubber bullets. Multiple people used police scanners and heard that they were undercover pretending to be violent protesters who were throwing rocks and whatnot at the police, with dozens of eyewitness accounts confirming that information. The person who instigated all the chaos last night, it was a fire at the AutoZone with the looting and burning buildings, is highly suspected to be an undercover cop pretending to be a protester. I heard about this. Because the video of him keeps getting taken down, protesters tried to stop him, but couldn't because he had a hammer and they were scared for their safety. The cops jammed cell phone towers and cut live streams to interrupt broadcast and to prevent people from seeing what was really going on and who actually started the violence. The cops lied about protesters being armed, about throwing rocks, and are literally trying to continue the violence happening, yet No one is holding them accountable for that. They never will either. And during all of this, the cop that murdered George Floyd still hasn't been arrested. He has had more than 10 complaints filed against him and was involved in 3 other civilian shootings in the past. And yet he's still out free along with his 3 other buddies involved, probably sitting on his couch while all this chaos is happening. So don't get it twisted. The cops just want to change the narrative to make it look like they're the wounded and righteous party, when they're the ones who started reacting violently in the first place and are still acting violently. So don't you ever forget who started this tragedy and murdered someone, and who are continuing to react to the situation with violence. It speaks volumes. I'm gonna put another video here of a girl, an African American girl. I believe she's also Muslim as well.
Listen to me. I've been being for more than 300 years. There is blood on these streets, sir. Why are we going to continue being peaceful when they are killing my brothers and sisters? We are being peaceful. We are on the grass. Why are they here? And it's because of them why we're here. So why the fuck are they here, sir? I'm tired of being peaceful. We on the grass. I have lost 3 brothers to this, sir. 3. This is not all right. I'm hurt. You don't see my eyes. I'm hurt. My people out here hurt. I'm tired of this. I'm not sitting down. If I gotta die behind my color, I'm gonna die about it. My kids after me, they gonna walk these streets crazy, just like everybody else can walk these streets crazy. I'm not standing down. I'm black and I'm proud and I'm strong. Together we are strong. No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No racism.
Police.
No justice.
No peace.
And that's all I'm gonna say. It's powerful. But someone else I don't want to ever forget, and I feel like we need to continue to say her name as well. Breonna Taylor was shot in her house. Don't forget her name. Say her name. Also, justice for Ahmed. I believe that's how you say his name. That man was tracked and killed. Thankfully, his killers are actually in police custody right now. And are actually in jail. Hopefully, they stay there for a good minute. Yes, all lives matter. I'm going to post this picture. But we're not focused on the black ones right now. But we're focused on the black ones right now, okay? Because if it is very apparent that our judicial system doesn't know that, plus, if you can't see why we're exclaiming hashtag Black Lives Matter, you are part of the problem. If you think, oh, no, hashtag is this, or this is stupid, or people who are posting certain things to get views on something under hashtag Black Lives Matter, you are part of the problem and you need to go seek help. You need to go talk to somebody. Because literally no one, people have just been minding their business. It's like, for what? What is the reason? Okay, I want to say this as well. We shout Black Lives Matter, which is met with All Lives Matter. Honestly, one side is lying, because if all lives matter, we wouldn't have to scream over yours. If all lives matter, we wouldn't have to remind you. That is deep. And I also want to say this too about certain celebrities who've only posted on their story. They think that's enough. No, post that crap on your page. It means a lot more, and it makes it look a lot more like you actually care. I'm not going to single out anyone who hasn't done it, but I want to give name to those who have actually done it. Like Justin Bieber. People keep trying to call him out because he said the N-word to me. Like, okay, and he has learned and he has been there for people. He is speaking about it. Demi Lovato is also speaking about it. She has it on her page. That's all I can think of at the moment. But there's plenty of black ones who haven't done it. But there are plenty who actually have. If anything, there are more smaller accounts who are actually speaking up more than these celebrities because they don't want to ruin their page. Man, forget your page. This is an actual issue that is going on, and it actually involves people's lives. It has involved parents losing their child because of racism. And I'm gonna go ahead and end that here because I have some place to go. I gotta go to work. But you know what? Have a good day. I hope I helped move you, and I hope I helped open your eyes. Goodbye.